It is the unfortunate end of an era. Order changes at Airbus and A350 news want to begin with the end of an era as Icelandair confirms the end of Boeing widebody operations earlier than what was initially expected. The carrier saying that by the end of 2026, widebody ops will no longer take place. This due to the earlier than expected retirement of an existing model. As part of ongoing efforts to restructure the business and operate more efficiently, the airline is going to retire its 767-300s. Fleet data showing that there are 3 767-300s remaining, and on top of that, 2 of your freighters. The fleet averages 26.8 years. The planes have been present arguably for quite some time and represent an era of the operation that is now coming to a close. Confirmation of the airline's decision came alongside its third quarter results, which showed a drop in net profit from the previous year. It was only in May that you may recall Icelandair did say it would farewell its 767 fleet by the end of the decade, with the fall of 2029 as the expected retirement date for the final unit. While these larger planes offer Icelandair greater capacity, they are ultimately behind the incoming MAX and A321neo family jets, which naturally have better efficiency and benefit the day-to-day network far better. The transition towards these single-aisle jets has already been underway, with the airline's reliance increasing on them by the month. Once the 767s retire, it'll represent a pivotal shift for the business as they look to leverage their geographic positioning to utilize longer-ranged planes to reach specific markets. So while it was always known that the 767s were going to be departing Icelandair, we believed that this would be at the end of the decade. Therefore, you'd have around 3 to 4 years more worth of flying. But now, with the latest confirmation, by 2027, Icelandair will not just not fly the 767, it'll no longer fly wide-body aircraft. Over to the next story, and that'll sit with a major order adjustment in the process of being completed that involves Wizz Air. The Hungary-based budget carrier, which has been looking to expand of recent times, is in talks to delay the delivery of around 100 aircraft from the plane maker. Deliveries which are scheduled between now and 2030 as part of the deferral would be pushed back into the 2030s. Bloomberg News is reporting this, citing multiple sources who are familiar with the matter. While Wizz Air has been aggressively expanding its operations over recent years, as certainly evidenced by its backlog, the low-cost carrier has still faced financial strain. Only at the midway point of the 2025 calendar year did they say that they had missed profit estimates that had been previously outlined, and as a result would be reviewing their operations moving forward and tempering expectations. The airline's missed results were primarily driven by the continued operational challenges that have been hurting the business for quite some time, from aircraft groundings across its next generation Airbus fleet spurred on by engine concerns to more, and really with a significant portion of the new era of aircraft affected, the airline has been forced to work closely with Pratt & Whitney and even Airbus to mitigate some of the impact. But the reality is, and as the airline has been very public in saying, the delays have stretched on for years, and while it may have been told that things should improve, it's not seen that situation improve in 2025, and it feels that as 2026 approaches, the same will be said. Additionally, engine-related issues are not fully expected to ease until the end of 2027, based only on current forecasting, meaning that Wizz Air would be without crucial Airbus planes for some time due to the groundings. Talk as well of the airline's possible move to defer the delivery of aircraft from Airbus as part of existing orders follows murmuring, remember, earlier this year, which suggested the airline was going to evaluate its delivery schedules to help manage capacity. Deferrals are absolutely not uncommon across our industry and can ultimately occur for a host of reasons. It could sometimes be driven by just simply poor planning at airlines at the time of purchase. At times we will also see changes in operational requirements from the order to eventually delivery, or an airline may find itself in a poor financial position where it simply cannot be growing and therefore it needs to halt any acquisition plans. This may be through a deferral or at worst an order cancellation. But talk of 100 planes being restructured ultimately comes just a handful of months after the airline said that it was going to look to limit its overall A321XLR flying in the future. This was after some changes were confirmed in its Middle Eastern operation after routes were underperforming. Over to the next story. Airbus is sticking firm with its A350 freighter launch timeframe, according to fresh comments where Crawford Hamilton, who has the role of the head of freighter marketing at Airbus, said that so far an EIS for the upcoming dedicated freighter remains on track for the second half of 2027. Comments shared with the Leham News, a reputable trade publication, indicated that yes, while many rumours are circulating that this may not occur, they believe they're firmly still on track. All relevant requirements have been met and the manufacturer is continuing to work towards the remaining approvals from the like of the EASA and the FAA to get the plane in the skies with customers in the second half of 2027. The reaffirming nature of Hamilton's comments follows uncertainty among some customers of the expected freighter who have held maybe a more negative view of when they believe the aircraft will launch with them, hinting at the 2028 timeframe. Of course, this absolutely could happen. It has been evident for now multiple years that no aircraft is ever going to pretty much launch on time. The A350F has already encountered delays, but the European manufacturer is still very much hopeful that it is going to get the aircraft away on time, remembering that only in February of this year is when we received the latest delay to that second half of 2027. Initial expectations, we're actually seeing this dedicated freighter operate its very first flight around now and launching next year, but obviously with the many complications that we have seen across our industry, that was deemed to not be possible. Thanks for watching, take care, be safe, really do appreciate your support, and I'll see you tomorrow for your next industry recap.